So Deric, I just want us to get started. Just so that people who have never heard of you, can you share a little bit about who you are, and how you got this, how you got to where you are as one of the top sales trainers of your company, and why even that company is paying you to travel, from state to state, teaching your course and your principles and stuff like that, so that people can at least kind of get to know who you are.
That's crazy, man. How I start off almost every training is I sit over here and basically say, T, can you take them out here, please? Thank you. But I sit there and say to myself, again, y'all got kids, so you got to excuse them. My apologies. They're leaving now. I sit there and say to the folks as they're, when I first started training, I'm like, look, y'all, a couple years ago, folks used to laugh at me for the techniques that I use. And now it's just so funny how it always comes back full circle. When people are now, paying me to travel around the country to teach these things. My start, man, I think I was blessed to have some good mentors. I'll just be honest with you. Back in when I was a teenager, we'd actually opened up a concession stand business for in Villa Rica, Georgia, to where it was myself and a group of teens, and we had one mentor who kind of helped us do all the paperwork and stuff like that. And that was literally where I got into it. Watching her close down, the city on allowing these young group of black kids to, basically be the concession stands for every single thing they did, whether it was the high schools or just the, the intramural teen, county stuff. It didn't matter. We were always there represented and making some decent money with it too. And then as I grew on, just, from having a good start like that, where your mind's expanding to see that, with no college degree, with nothing, just hustle, we were able to create something for ourselves, literally out of nothing.
Okay.
And going from there, I just it's always been on the back of my mind.
Okay. So it's just pretty much you just started creating something for yourself, just building up on just some skills that you've been building up ever since you were young. So what got you into the automotive industry itself? Like, what did you like about it?
To be honest, man, it wasn't even nothing to do with liking, bro. I got I had my wife now. We're married, but she had 2 children from a previous relationship, and we just had a baby boy. And I was a firefighter actually when I came down to Biloxi, Mississippi. Yeah, man, and I didn't want to run into burning buildings anymore. And if I died, it was gonna go at $50,000 for my family. Like, that's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So I came down. I went to look at some cars at a dealership, and they liked me. They gave me a shot. I walked in. I always tell people, I walked in there to get a car and left out with a job. So that was the start of it. Bro,
yeah. Now I'm laughing because I used to sell cars. I used to be also a salesperson for cars as well.
Okay.
And I got started in sales. Actually, I think now that I think about it, I think I started sales and selling cars, man. I mean, I've always sold things, but I think that's when I started to really master how to communicate. Because a lot of people don't know it, but sales. I think, I mean, maybe you could elaborate on this, but I think sales is just having a conversation to a direction. What do you think?
No, that's absolutely correct. That's literally my first sales trainer, Phil. Well, the first official sales trainer I ever had was a guy by the name of Phil. When I got employed by that same dealership, Pat Kia, back in the day, and he told the whole class, he's like, look, this is some Jedi mind tricks I'm going to teach you. Okay. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just about being able to maneuver through a conversation to get to the result that's beneficial to you and the other party. That's really what it comes down to.
Okay. So let me ask you this. This channel is all about being a middleman. And right. The whole purpose of the concept of being a middleman is how to leverage, taking a system that works and you putting yourself in it to be able to not only be beneficial to you, but also be able to impact other people. As it stands right now, if I'm not mistaken, you go state to state teaching people your course and principles, right? Now, let me ask you this. What are some of the things that you think people listening to this or watching this can learn from, just general principles of what you teach? because I'm a strong believer that it doesn't matter whether you're in sales for real estate, or you're selling cars, or you're selling anything. There's still general principles that you need to know as a person in order for you to be a good salesperson, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll give you. I'm gonna try to do three, but I know two come to mind first. Bro, you got to be relentless. All right, you have to be relentless. Because in the sales game, truly, what it comes down to is a numbers game. You know, I
Okay.
always tell people, you can be the worst salesman in the world. If you get in front of 1,000 people, you're gonna slip and fall into a deal. You know what I'm saying? It's just statistical fact. So you have to learn to be persistent and push past rather what the normal person is going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to feel, especially when you're new to it. Like I remember closing my first deal, and I was watching these other guys and how they went about it. And I was like, oh my God, that's so awkward. They said no like 10 times, they're still going, right? But again, I had to train myself to do that, to just keep going until I eventually got my first yes. But that's definitely one of the main principles there. Another one I'd say is you got to be sold, you know, and not just on your product. I think that's something that's a given. You definitely want to be sold on what you're selling, but you got to be sold on yourself. You know, before you can convince anybody else to spend money on you, with you, or whatever the case may be, you have to first be sold that you're worth it. Because again, sales is all about the mentality, right? You know, like I tell my students all the time, you know, if you're going out there expecting to, you know, you may not have a client yet, right? You've never done anything like this before, right? That's irrelevant. The key thing is, you know, if you're not, if you don't believe in yourself, then what you'll do is subconsciously sabotage, you know, the whole process. You know, your presentation isn't going to be as good because again, you have doubts inside your head. You can't have any doubts whatsoever. I mean, it's damn near fanatical. How you got to be, you know. Like I know I get a lot of times folks say, you know, Deric, you so cocky, you so dead. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm sold. That's it. I'm sold on my own sauce, and that's what's required if you truly want to get to the next level, you know. Let's see if I can think of a third one. Tenacity and being sold on your product. That's it. Oh, training. I don't know how I can forget that. Training. You know, Michael Jordan, you know, I like to quote him because he's, of course, an iconic and, well, a legendary basketball player, arguably the GOAT. I'm a LeBron fan. That's why I always say arguably. But the thing is, you know, with him, you know, he's famous for always saying this. I practice so hard that when it's game time, you know what I'm saying, it's nothing. You know, it's easy because I just drill it, and I push myself, you know, way beyond what I think is possible in the practice. You know, I think that's something a lot of people really don't pay attention to in sales. To be a professional salesman, you have to train for this. You know, like people think like now that I've found some success and I'm making, you know, pretty decent money for my family, you know, folks are like, oh my God, you came out of nowhere. It's like, no, motherfucker. Excuse my French.
Nah, you can go ahead, man.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me that, bro. I'll let go for real.
Hey, be you, man. You know,
Yeah.
be you, man.
But you know, people always say that, man, you know, your overnight success. I think I've heard that like a couple times in the last couple months. I'm like, bro, it took me like at least 7 solid years to be an overnight success. Appreciate you saying that, you know, but you obviously haven't been paying attention to the shit I've been doing, you know, around the way. Mm-hmm. But those are my top 3 right there, man. That's what I think is like what's key to it. What do you think?
You know, I appreciate you sharing that, man. And I think, you know, I'm a strong believer in that. You're absolutely right. Tenacity is one, because at the end of the day, I really have, this is what I believe, right? I believe that your problems are your blessings.
Absolutely.
Once you figure out what the problem is and you are able to overcome it, for some reason it always benefits you. So tenacity, and you need tenacity in order for you to get over that hurdle, right? That obstacle. But I also definitely believe that you have to be sold on your own sauce. I feel as though confidence is key, right? Actually, I made a podcast by where I was going over the concept of being able to sell yourself. You know, where you have to get to a point where you lie to yourself to believe your lie, because your brain can't tell the difference between whether you're lying or whether it's real. So, you know, when you have goals, when you have dreams, pretty much that's what you're envisioning a lot, because you don't currently have it, but you're telling yourself that you own these things. These are things that belong to you, right?
I don't see it like a lie though. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that term because for me,
Okay.
first choice is huge, right? I mean, you say I'm selling myself on a lie. I don't think that. I think it's just something that has a manifest. Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay.
You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Exactly.
Those negative connotations are real big. Like it's all about word choice. Like for example, oh, I'll say this. When we're selling, I'm sure we're always taught to stay away from certain words because it'll
Okay.
start to point back to certain things. For example, the company that I work with, basically what we do is we lease these cars to subprime customers, right? People who have less than stellar credit. The thing is, leasing has such a negative connotation, and pretty much, I'll say in the circles that we swim in, leasing is a terrible thing as far as most of our customers think. So we stay away from that word. In regards to, when we're trying to sell ourselves, right? When you say lie, words like lie or make, fake it till you make it. Nah, bro, I'm literally just walking into a place that I'm meant to be in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real key that you have a certain word. Does that make sense what I'm getting at?
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I mean, at the end of the day, what you tell yourself is your reality. So I definitely do
Absolutely.
agree.
Absolutely.
I definitely do agree. So on the topic of leasing, right? I would like us to jump into it a little bit because at the end of the day, knowledge is knowing all the golden nuggets coming together, right?
Absolutely.
So what can you tell? Are you a beneficiary or are you an advocate for leasing, like leasing in the automobile world?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
See
let,
this.
let so let's say somebody who just got out, have decent credit or little to no credit, and let's say they are somebody that is looking to get a car. What path would you recommend, or what do you think would be the best choice that they should go? In
I
your
mean,
in your in your experience.
if it was, this is what I'll tell you. If it was me talking to my little sister and telling her what to do, I'd say, look, first of all, if you can find a strong cosigner, definitely do that because the interest charges are going to kill you. Whether you do a traditional purchase or you lease, when leasing it's not interest per se, it's a money factor. But if you're a new person starting off, you definitely, if you can hold off, I wouldn't just get in the car until you can build up some type of credit, whether it just be a small credit card, whether it's a small credit card that you can keep the balance low, buy a little stuff on it, pay it off as soon as you get it to build that up. It's not quick per se, but it's definitely effective. I had a young lady who was like 19 years old doing exactly that. And she had walked in with a 720 credit score. I mean, but the thing is, a 720, it's not all 720s are weighted equally. Because she's so new, she's got great credit for the little bit that she has, but it's still a little bit. But even so, she may qualify for a lease of a vehicle to finance. Depending on what they're going, how they're structured all that. But the reason why I'm such a big advocate for leasing is because a vehicle is going to be a diminishing asset, right? The second you drive off that lot, it's never going to be worth what it was brand new. So with that being said, not only that, the behavior that we as, just Americans exhibit is we want a new car roughly every 3-4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second that you drive that $30,000 car off the lot, it's now worth what, 25 maybe? And then some years down the line, some usage, even if you take care of it, it's still not going to be, you're still probably going to be upside down, where basically you owe more on your vehicle than it's actually worth. This is again with a traditional purchase. With a lease, though, at the end of it, even though it's it's typically going to be for a shorter term, 24, 36,000 miles, 24, 36 months. Once you're done with that, you have options that just aren't available to you when you purchase. For example, if I have a lease, I'm at the end of it, and I'm taking care of my car, haven't went over on my mileage, and I can literally just walk away from that car. Here are your keys, right? It's I don't have to worry about whether or not it's upside down, where I owe more on the car than what it's worth. That's on the company themselves. You know what I'm saying? Here's your car. If I want to keep that car, I can go ahead and do a traditional financing option, purchase it basically, right? And go ahead and finance the rest of that vehicle and pay it off just like I would any other way. If I want to upgrade, I can upgrade. Sometimes if you're taking care of a vehicle, sometimes what happen is because of the lease, I know I'm trying to explain this quickly in the right way.
It's all good, man. I give people as much information as they can about cars because, again, I believe that there are 4 pillars that everybody needs to know, and credit is one of them. So I like the fact that you're giving information about how somebody should get started in that field if they have ever thought about even getting a car.
Mm-hmm. But let's see, what is it? So the thing is, again, you have more freedom at the end of the lease, and that's what people really don't understand. Like the lease that people think of, honestly, that's only available to those who are credit worthy. Why is that? Because ultimately the bank is really losing out on that. It's not something that they benefit off of. What they truly benefit is going to be from the traditional purchase because of all the interest and all that jazz. You know, it's just
Okay.
not that way in the leasing option. So yes, I'm a big fan of it. Long story short.
Okay, that's pretty good, man. I mean, one of the things when I used to sell cars, that's one of the things that I learned that leasing could be a good asset if you know how to position yourself correctly. In order for you to not only uh, save yourself from liabilities down the road, because once you get a car in your name and you're making payments on it, there's already a depreciating asset that you keep paying. For those that do not know, a depreciating asset is pretty much something that as time goes on, the value of it keeps going down. So whether you like it or not, let's say you get a car, and this is just say, let's say you buy a $20,000 car and you drive off the lot. Literally, once you move away from the lot, you lose the value. The car is no longer worth $20,000. And as each year goes, the car will be going down. So leasing a car is a little bit different because even though you're making the monthly payments on the car, you don't have that negative equity, which is the balance that is left over the car over time. You don't have that balance over your head. So you can either go into a new lease or you can actually buy a car cash or whatever, and you wouldn't have to have that negative balance because that negative balance ends up actually hurting you in the long run if you're trying to get a car, right? Right, because again, for those that don't know, if you buy a $20,000 car, and let's say in 5 years you want to sell that car, and that car has a negative value of $10,000, that means that $10,000 will be added to the new car you wanted to buy. But when you lease, as Deric was saying, you don't have to worry about that $10,000 being an overhead to you. So hopefully it explains a little bit about what that is. So one of the things that I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. One of the things that I own is a digital marketing agency, right? Where we help companies get leads and things like that. And some of the questions that I know in that aspect as a digital marketer is the sales aspect, right? How to talk to a business owner, and one of the ways that I found out about Deric, guys, is I went on YouTube and I was looking for a good way to communicate or get my message across over the phone. Because one of the things that you don't know or you do know is when you're building a business, you have to do an outreach where you have to contact business owners. You have to get in front of people. And sometimes when you call a man and you don't know what you're saying, you're gonna hit click instantly, or people are not gonna talk to you. So I believe in knowledge, as Deric was saying, train and learn. So I was learning how to be more effective because I'm like, okay, I'm getting clicked down too much. Every time I call somebody's clicking, I must be doing something wrong. So I came across Deric's video on YouTube, and literally that's how I booked my first appointment. I lied to you not, bro. Like I lied to you not. That appointment got me my first client. So thank you. Actually, I never told you that. I never told you that, but thank you for that. But that's why I kind of want us to talk a little bit about how to approach a business owner and how to capture attention. And I think you do a very good job at capturing attention. So if you don't mind, do you mind sharing exactly what that message was that you made at YouTube? And also, we're gonna put Deric information in the show notes so that you guys could find the video that I'm talking about and also get more information about Deric as well. But I'll just let him go ahead and kind of shine some light on his expertise right now.
Yeah, man. I was crazy as I made that video. I was actually pretty pissed off because the first appointment I had for the day just treated me like I was nothing. And I typically do my best work when I'm extremely pissed off. I'm just petty like that. Anyway, so what it comes down to is whenever you're talking to business owners, I'm not gonna say too often we do too much. The simplest solution is often the best solution. And that's pretty much what I did. I know exactly what the pain points were for, these automotive dealerships, which is they suck at digital, hands down. They don't get it. They reach out to people who aren't car people. They're talking all these fancy words, and they're just sitting like, oh yeah, yeah, basically trying to act like they understand what I'm saying. Why? Because they're there to sell cars. You'll have some general managers and dealer principals who may have an affinity for that or are interested in it, so they know. But at the end of the day, again, they're not. If they wanted to go that deep into it, they would own a digital marketing agency. Instead, they have a dealership. So, I took that pain point and mixed it with another one, which is they suck at, the phones, getting people in the door. I think this is important for you all as well. Even if you're not in the automotive niche, just to really, people always ask all the time, what niche should I start into? Start what you know. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly what I did. I've been in the automotive for a while, so I could speak intelligently to these guys, but also speak their language. I think that's something that's so key. When I call these guys, like I think I did a practice call just the other day with someone. They just talking like this one-on-one. It was just cool. Then as soon as we practiced, he completely changed up his whole swag and spiel. And I was like, "What are you doing, bro?" You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself. But the way I talk to these car dealerships is literally the way I'm talking to them now. Why do I do that? Because you have to remember, these guys are just successful hustlers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be so shocked to find out the backgrounds of these people. Like, and I've met so many felons who are now, general sales managers. These folks used to sell weed, coke, back in the day. They just basically went another route and found some success for themselves. So you just got to talk to them on that level. They're just regular old folks who just happen to be good at sales, right? But that's the key to it. My specific pitch was taking advantage of getting those two pain points, which is they suck at digital and they suck at getting people in the door. And I know that those two, they want to be good at those things. They know that that's what's necessary in today's day and age. But again, it's difficult to do. So my pitch was simply, I'm going to have 20 people show up at your door, right? Either this day or the next. Then I wait for the objection because I want it to come. I'm going to give them one and then I'm going to quickly push past it. Oh my God, what is this? What you got 20, 25 people? And for the automotive industry, why that's so big is because, again, with the internet being so massive and it's made it so competitive, rather. Folks just don't come out to dealerships anymore. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, it used to be on any given Friday or Saturday, you're going to sell 15, 20 cars. Why? Because people had to come out to the dealership to find out, how does these seats feel? You know what I'm saying? Is this, is it really big enough for me and my family? I don't even know what it looks like. Look at the new options, right? Nowadays, a quick look on YouTube, Kelly Blue Book, Auto Trader, all these different resources. You don't have to visit a car dealership, right? So when you tell a dealership that you're going to basically cut through all that BS and just find these customers that are in market and bring them into the dealership, that's a gold mine. That's a gold mine. It's huge. And whenever you're in the future, you're structuring a script of some sort. You want to make sure that you're speaking directly to what these people want. The only way you can do that, honestly, is either have someone on your team who's deeply entrenched in that industry, or you know what I'm saying, your own personal experience, what you've seen, is necessary. And that's basically what I did. And plus, I'm a badass on the phone, so it works out.
Yeah, I think it's straight to the point, and it kind of gets that message out, like that elevated type pitch. Because at the end of the day, you have to be able to convey your message to people as fast as possible while you have their attention. And their attention can be less than 3 to 5 seconds.
Yes, indeed.
So as I said, guys, I am gonna put that in the show notes here, and pretty much you guys can have access to that. Now let's kind of jump into a different switch gears again. What are your thoughts on fear?
I just had this conversation with my sister too. She just actually got into the car business. She's a medical professional, right?
Okay.
But she saw what I've been able to achieve in, not too long a time. And she's like, I want some of that. And I was like, that's dope. Come over here to Big Brother. We're gonna make this money. I told she actually was like, you know what, I'm so nervous. Something's so new for me, and it's just I'm scared. The way I look at it, this is what I told her. I was like, if you truly want to be successful, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what's required. Hell, even this job right here, I was perfectly fine. I enjoyed working where I was working at before. I partnered up with a fairly large digital marketing agency and was, they're one of their top guys. and only what 2 or 3 months I fucking killed it, bro. But to leave something like that, because I was actually going to try to do both, but I felt it was better to focus on this one and maybe play with some different avenues. But to leave that, that place that I was comfortable in, like I know I can do this, I know I can kill it, to go into where I'm full-time training people was terrifying to me. But like I told her, I was like, sweetheart, you got to think about it like this, okay? Whenever if you're looking to truly get to that next level, it's going to be scary. You know what I'm saying? We're naturally opposed to change. We prefer to stay in, this little bubble here. But again, to get to the next level, it's going to require you to do something that you've never done before. I want to be a public speaker, right? To where I'm paid to talk to thousands and thousands of people at once, to basically pursue their dreams and sell better and just be, become a better operator. I can't do that if I'm sitting in besides spitting my shit on YouTube and Facebook, which is cool. But being working from home isn't necessarily going to get me to do that. Why not take a leap of faith and go out there and teach these dealerships, what my specific approach to sales and marketing and all that jazz. And I was terrified, but that fear ultimately is why I chose to do it. Because if I'm scared of something, that means I'm moving outside of my comfort zone. And that's what's going to put me where I need to be. So I don't look at fear as a bad thing necessarily, man. It's part of life. It is what it is. But I look at it as a motivation, or rather, a guy just let me know I'm on the right track. If I'm feeling fine with it, that means I'm too comfortable. Make sense?
Okay. So that's what I believe too, right? I think fear it's inevitable. Nobody can run away from fear. We all have it. Like, I don't care who you are, you're scared of something.
Yeah, absolutely.
At some point. So I don't, it's kind of stupid to run away from something that you can't resist. It's gonna happen. All right. So what about mistakes, failure, errors? What do you think about that? Like, how do you perceive those things?
Mistakes and failure. I always tell people this, man. You either win or you learn. I don't look at it as failure. Maybe it's the way most people do. I fucked up a lot. Holy shit, a lot. But I think that's a part of this. Being successful. Most people who are massively successful have failed way more times than people have even attempted. Right. Well, that's the key. I think you should. I don't want to say get used to it, but just look at it for what it is. It's a learning opportunity. For example, the first time I was in that manager, I was proud to be promoted so very early in the automotive career. But ultimately, I was fired not too shortly after that. Why? Because I wasn't mature enough. I had great results, but I was just so bad with people that it didn't work out. Can I look at that as a failure? No, that's an opportunity to learn. Okay, that was an issue. I was made very aware of what that issue is. Now going forward, as I take my next opportunity or create my next opportunity, I know that this is something I need to be aware of to fix myself, and ultimately it'll make me a better man, a better, salesman, a better whatever the case may be. Make sense?
Okay.
So what about you, man? What do you think about failure?
Man, look. So I think when it comes to failure, I believe that you need to fail. I don't care who you are. You need to fail. And I already talked about this on one of my podcast episodes, but even me, I failed a lot, man. When I was in college, I started a business, started making 6 figures. That business crashed. I learned a lot from it. Started selling cars. Right, my first month, I only sold 6 cars, because I didn't know. So I kept failing. But guess what? My second month, I sold 12. And my third month, I sold 32 cars by myself.
Fuck, bro. That's
exactly. Right. So it was just learning, building blocks. Because the first time I failed, it was like, okay, why did I? See, one of the things is this, though. Failure is always a lesson. However, you have to take the time to reflect on that failure.
That is true.
Most people will fail, and we get it. It sucks. But if you never take the time to say, okay, I failed. Why did I fail? How can I make it better next time? It's going to repeat itself. So I believe that failure is something that nobody can. It's needed. And I always say, if you're going to fail fast. As Grant Cardone would say, fail fast.
Yes,
because the faster you can fail, the closer you get to your goal. So I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer that if you haven't failed yet, you're not in business. If you haven't failed yet, we're not talking. because you have to fail. You have to learn. I'm sure the person that you become right now is because of all your failures and how it molded you, how it kicked your butt, and you're like, all right, man, this is not something that I want to happen again. Let me become a much better version of myself to be able to get out of that, right? So I believe that's a very big key. And so I'm 100% with you, man. I think you have to fail.
I got a quick.
You have to fail.
Story too. Actually, my buddy, he was because I think this is another thing as well. I think it's key. Yes, but I think it's key as well to surround yourself with positive people, right? Folks that are trying to go where you're trying to go, right? But I tell the story of my buddy. I won't say his name because I want to put his business out, but he invested into a business, that actually seemed the opportunity was too good to pass up. Just to be honest, it was a very profitable business that was getting sold very cheaply, and he bought it. Turns out, that company owed what, like $20-something thousand to the IRS, and what is it? I think it was like another 10,000 to Amex or something like that. And of course, as soon as he got that stuff, now he's on the hook for it, right? So, he called me, real stressed out, man. I don't know what to do with this, yada yada yada. I was like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Here's the thing right here. Where we're trying to go, right? You have to realize where we're trying to go. What's $30,000, right? Well, we truly want to be in the next, 5-10 years. You know what I'm saying? What's $100,000? You know what I'm saying? The way you need to look at this failure, this, you know what I'm saying? This is like, all right, cool. It ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna pick myself and go faster. Why? Because champions aren't forged on sunny fields and green, beautiful grass and rainbows and unicorns and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a champion or you want to be something great, bro. It's going to require you to go through some fucking hell. Like I got another guy on my Facebook now, Jason Gardner. I look up to him so much. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, Facebook just misplaced $100,000 or some shit. I was like, what? But the thing is, you gotta ask yourself is, how much money is he making if he, you know what I'm saying? It's not even pissed. It even looks like just like, fuck, $100,000 going. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of problems I want. So I think when it comes to failure, that's typically what I look at. Cool, maybe some money's missing, or maybe I'm a little short here, maybe whatever the case may be. But I know that the problems that I truly want are so much bigger. How can I allow this quote unquote failure or lesson to hold me back? You feel me?
Yeah. I 100% agree with you, man. I 100% agree with you. It's just lessons, man. Literally failure is a lesson, and you just keep learning and you just keep becoming a much better version of yourself. So I'm 100% with that. So let me ask you this: if a fellow, let's say a social media marketer or somebody who's just in business, if they're trying to go to B2B, business to business, right? What do you think about appearance?
I'm real big on that. So or you just touched the hot button for me. So if you look online, to a lot of maybe it's not, I don't think it's as evident anymore. I think that bubble is kind of popped, but everybody and their mom was saying, hey, I'm a social media marketing guru, yada, yada, yada. In 30 days, I went from zero to $500,000, these insane stories, right? And you watch it and you see it's just like, they're going in showing, hey, here's how I do it. They're walking into these places with fucking jeans, bro, T-shirts, you know what I'm saying? Until, these huge businesses, just like a normal, just dressed so casually. And it frustrates me knowing why, because if you're going to be that guy, you need to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? If you're a professional, then act like it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I learned that lesson. It took me a while, actually, in the automotive industry. But it was from a buddy of mine named Jay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I'm not like none of these other motherfuckers in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm a cut above. And you can tell the way I present myself and I carry myself. I make sure that my clothes are ironed. My suit is fresh. You know what I'm saying? He wore a suit and tie every single day. But, you know what I'm saying? He was able to outsell everybody there again. And I think a huge part of it was because how he carried himself and how he was dressed. You know what I'm saying? That's huge, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing is, me personally, if I'm owning a business and someone walks in there, like trying to charge me $5, $10, $50, $1,000 a month, and you got on some fucking khakis and a damn T-shirt, get the fuck out of my face, bro. Come on, man. I'm not with that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? The only people who can, like, hell, who is it? Bezos and fucking Gates and fucking Buffett, how do they carry themselves? They could do that very easily, walk into these businesses dressed down. But the key thing is they don't. So who the fuck do you think you are? Grant Cardone ain't walking to these places looking, you know what I'm saying, on some bullshit. He's always Even when he's got on jeans, the man looks well put together, right? So I'm real big on appearance. You know, I'm a young guy. I'm a younger guy. I'm still kind of learning myself how to really put it together and everything like that. But I'm always making an effort to make sure that I look as presentable as possible. As I say, the hair needs to be retwisted. I get it. Don't make fun of me, guys, but it is what it is.
But at the end of the day, the core principle is you have to look presentable, right? Like even me, I'm a strong believer in that, right? Like I wouldn't show up to a business that has the potential to be high ticket that could pay me anywhere from $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and
Right.
you know they're dressed up. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to their facilities, they look presentable. They're not in t-shirts and khakis, unless that's their culture. Which, if you did your research, even if that's their culture, you still want to kind of let them view you as a professional first before you can downgrade if that's what you want to do. But I definitely do believe that if you want somebody to give you a shot, you don't want to make it harder for them to even consider you, right? And appearance is very big. So I'm very big on that. I like to look at least on my worst day, business casual. Business casual. But most of the time, I look professional when I go into this business owner. Let's jump into the automotive world for our social media marketing people on this channel. What are some of the key things that you personally think an owner in a business looks for if they're trying to do business with you? And it doesn't matter what niche it is, but I'm sure there are core principles along the lines that every owner is like, okay, before I feel comfortable doing business with this guy or this woman that just walked into my facility, these are some of the things that they have to say, present, do. What are what do you think?
I mean, I think that that's a pretty big, it's a broad question. You know, I mean, first thing that comes to mind is competence. You know, you definitely want to see competence. You know, that you know what the fuck you're talking about. Confident as well. You know, but you got a certain swagger to yourself. You know, but you just, you know what, I know. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see that person, they're gonna take care of me. If I decide to do this, I don't have to worry about my stuff. Even though there's gonna be those little, you know, doubts in the back of your mind, you should feel comfortable in your decision, right? But ultimately, I mean, you got to think, man, sales, and just like we said earlier, you know, it's a conversations thing, right? We're in the people business. Ultimately, stop building relationships and all that. People are going to buy, you know what I'm saying? Business owners, normal customers, they're going to buy from folks that they like. So, you know, what you want to see, me personally, if I'm a business owner and I'm, you know, looking for someone to handle a service, not just social media marketing. You know, I want to see somebody that I can dig, right? That I'm cool with. I'm probably gonna have to work with this person for a very long time. You know, that's what the whole point of this is. That's to have a relationship to where you satisfy whatever I need for, you know, the foreseeable future. So you got to be likable, man. You know, that's that's
Wow,
it. Really.
you just literally hit a nail on the head. I was actually having a talk with a guy in one of my groups today about that what you just said. You have to be likable, but also competent, and you also have to be somebody that they can see themselves working with. Because you know what I was telling this guy is when you meet these business owners, you're not an employee. You're not a yes man.
Yeah.
Right? They're not looking for a yes man. They're looking for somebody who they know that I have this issue. Can you fix it? And once you're fixing this issue, it's not going to take any time for me. Right? So you have to be able to not only create that relationship, and you can also tell whether you're going to have a good relationship with people or not. Right? So yeah, man, I like the fact that you just hit that, because I feel as though the people got to know that at the end of the day, when just like how you want their business, they're looking at you like, are you somebody that I could go long, that I could build a relationship with and go that extra mile, you know? So I appreciate that input. So Deric, we've been talking for a while, right? Let me ask you this question. What are 2 books, or maybe even a book, that you can recommend for somebody that's starting out, that wants to be able to leverage a system or be able to learn something to get better in life? What is a good book that comes to mind that you could give somebody?
Power Broke. You know, that's always going to be one of my go-tos. The Power Broke. Of course, the Business Bible, Think and Grow Rich. Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the foundation for anything, because ultimately what those books did for me, anyway, I can't speak for everybody else, but what it did for me was just change my way of thinking. Again, going from a firefighter into the car business, it's not something that people just do, right? Like, that's what you're like, what were you doing this before? But one of the reasons why I did it again was because I got a hold of those books and it changed my whole paradigm. You know, I started looking at opportunities and the way money works, just everything drastically different. So I think that's what those would be my suggestions, because it's going to shift you into you're looking to basically just trying to create opportunities. That makes sense?
That makes perfect sense, man. That makes perfect sense. And that's what the middleman is always looking for. He's always looking for the next opportunity or how he can place himself in something to win. So speaking of that, is there any systems that you're using right now that you're leveraging to kind of make a bigger impact, to increase your bank account, your pockets, that you feel comfortable sharing?
I mean, well, the main one, and I'm sure y'all probably know exactly what I'm saying, social media. You know what I'm saying? I still, like, the stuff I teach on a daily basis, right, to a lot of these salesmen and stuff is the stuff I do myself. Mind you, I'm going after a different customer, or I'm trying to get the attention of different people, but it's the exact same stuff. You know, I kill Facebook. I play with YouTube a little bit here and there. It's not something I really push into. Instagram as well. I figured out how to kind of hack it for what I want to do. But social media as a whole, because, you know, again, what we're doing, guys, is regardless of what you do, it's a numbers game. You need to get in front of as many people as possible to patronize your business, your hustle, whatever the case you want to call it. So I do it, and I get around people such as you, Lemuel, who is looking to build a brand and build a following. I try to connect with you guys, and just like the same thing I did with Alex. I found him, reached out to him, and said, "Hey, I got some dope shit. Let's put it together, see what happens." Right? I mean, that's pretty much it, man. You know, to be honest, in today's day and age, you don't need anything else to know. You know, I could go into, specific tools like how do I automate some of my stuff or anything. I could go into that, but really it's just leveraging your social presence and getting out there, talking your shit, being as authentic as possible. Like, fuck it, this is me. Do what you will. You know what I'm talking about? And just the marketplace respond to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm a strong believer in that. I think we're living in an era right now where attention, and I'm not just saying this because I own an agency, but I'm just saying we're living in a world where attention is worth more than money.
Right.
If you're able to capture attention, it's worth more than money. Why? Because people might hate you, but will still buy your stuff rather than somebody else.
Yep.
You know, or might still listen to you, or you might influence somebody that kind of knows you than somebody that doesn't know you at all. So I believe that the ultimate middleman is somebody who is leveraging attention.
Absolutely. I agree.
I definitely believe, because if you are able to leverage attention, the sky is the limit. You could go into any field.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Deric, I appreciate you even taking the time for us to talk here. You know, you sharing some of your knowledge with us. It's amazing. I'm pretty sure our viewers and listeners have been able to learn a thing or two from this. So before we go, at the point in your life right now, what is one lesson, or what is one thing that you wish you knew before you were where you are now?
Great question. Double down on yourself. That's what I wish that I had intimately known a couple of years ago. I was never a confident guy. Like, I always question myself. And still to this day, I still do. But I beat out those thoughts to be like, nah, fuck it. You are who you are. Do your thing, right? But I wish I had known that, just to be more confident in who I am. Because, again, the way my personality is, brother, you're either going to love me or you're going to hate me. That just is what it is, especially when I'm passionate about something. And too often, I think that we focus on the people who don't like us instead of, we're basically trying to convert the atheists and non-believers in regards to us, right? Instead of just doubling down on the people that fuck with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the key to it all. And of course, I always bring stuff back to sales, right? Like, what it comes back to is, again, it's the numbers game, right? We're fucking, 7.2 something billion people in the world. Hell, you find you 10,000, which is like a decimal of percent, right? Like, the fuck with you, bro, you're a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Find a way to monetize that attention, you're good. So that's my advice I give to my early on self. But Look, man, you know what I'm saying? One of the things I want to be clear is, guys, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm doing okay for myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all right. But I think too often we get to a certain point, we think like, yeah, I made it. You know what I'm saying? You can never, ever fucking think that whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Because then comes in complacency, then comes laziness. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm doing better than a lot of people, right? But what I want for myself and what we all should want for ourselves is just so much more. Grant Cardone, I know you and I both, share we're both fans of him. One of the things, his biggest things he said is, man, I wish that I've gotten to a great point in my life, but I wish that I would have dreamed bigger back then. Because I didn't, I limited myself. You know what I'm saying? So and like wholeheartedly, you know what I'm saying? We're doing okay right now, but it is nowhere near where I should be or where I need to be for what I want to do with my life. I think that's, you know what I'm saying? Too often we just accept this small bullshit. I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but let me get this last piece out. I always say this, I used to do like live videos every blue moon. And you know what I'm saying? I try to like really hurt some feelings, but not to be rude, but just to be like, yo, wake up. You know what I'm saying? $15 an hour isn't real money. You know what I'm saying? $20,000 a year is fucking poverty, bro. $50,000 is not real money. $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 isn't real money.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
It's really not. At the end of the day, you can still be broke with that shit. You need to drastically increase what you want, not to be greedy, but just because, what I want to do is be able to create something for my family. I've probably heard and seen my kids running around this motherfucker, right? But, that's what I really want to create, something that's lasting for my children and my children's children, and so on and so forth, generational wealth. And the only way to do that, to protect them from the woes of the world and all that kind of stuff, is to put myself in those positions. I'm not just saying to be money hungry, but just to have enough power and influence to be able to get things done the way I need them to get done for my family. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense, man. It makes perfect sense. I think that's a great that's some great information that people can literally take home with them and kind of actually just digest and really understand. You always have to set something that you have to go for, and once you're getting close to it, you need to always put up to the next carrot. I feel as though that you always have to keep pushing yourself to the next level, because if you don't, you're going to get complacent and you're going to get stuck. And once you get stuck, there's no way of you lose your momentum. And that's one of the things that you do not want to do. You do not want to lose momentum when you have things going, because it's going to take the same amount of effort that it took you to start that momentum. And sometimes it's not nice. Right?
Either growing or you're dying, man. That's it. There's no middle ground. You're either growing or you're dying.
Exactly. Well, Deric, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I know your family's back there, but just taking the time to get on the Middleman Mastery podcast with the show here and giving us some good information, some good knowledge. Hopefully people have been able to learn about, leases. They've been able to learn about how to be a great salesperson. Again, one of the things that I want people to do is, everybody that I'm bringing on this show are people that are building your dreams. They're building your goals just like you, and pretty much you should be able to follow them and see their day to day. So Deric, where can people find you? If somebody wanted to find you, find more of your content, where can they find you?
Facebook, you can look me up, fb.me/Deric.Slade, DRIC.Slade. I do a little bit on YouTube, not too much. I'm going to work on that in the future, but just Deric Sells, DERICSELLS on YouTube. And you'll find me there. It's got a picture of me looking all bad and shit.
Yes, all right, man. Thank you so much again for your information, and
appreciate it. Thank you. It was an honor.
Time to listen.
All right, bro.
All right, man.